Now, in a further sign that China is losing allies in the Indo-Pacific, Thailand has scrapped the KRA Canal plan with China. The strategic project.
China is planning to redraw the map of Asia with a massive canal project through Thailand. This crazy plan, dubbed the Canal, aims to open a waterway that will bypass the Strait of Malacca at a cost of $28 billion. If realised, it would shorten the region's trade routes and give ships a 2 to 3 day navigation advantage. But is this just an engineering marvel, or a new geopolitical equation that will pit powers from China to India, the United States to ASEAN against each other? The canal, which would effectively cut Thailand's southern provinces in two, is also fueling debates about ecological risks and population displacement. Does the fate of global trade really lie in this Thailand canal dream? We now delve into the details of this giant undertaking and question its possible consequences step by step. The Canal. This $28 billion megaproject will be financed by China and will be 102 kilometres long. Its aim is to bypass the heavily trafficked Strait of Malacca, shortening the travel distance of ships by more than 1,200 kilometres. Let's take a deeper look at China's Canal project. In the United States, China-Indian Ocean dispute, moves are constantly being exchanged. The Indian Ocean, which is under the strong control of the United States Navy, is a sine qua non for Chinese trade. The two countries are constantly taking various new steps for the region, which is especially important for transferring Middle Eastern oil to China and sending Chinese products to the West. Even the presence of the B-52 heavy bomber base in the Diego Garcia Islands region alone reveals the strength of the United States' presence in the region. China is also making efforts to reduce the United States' presence in the region and to open new commercial routes. One of these is the Isthmus Canal project, known as the Thai Canal. Planned as an alternative to transit through the Malacca Strait, the canal is planned to shorten China's route to the Indian Ocean by 2,000 kilometres. In 2015, the canal was planned to be 102 kilometres long and 400 metres wide, with a depth of 25 metres. It is planned to reduce the transportation time between the South China Sea and the Andaman Sea by 3 days, and is claimed to save approximately $400,000 per trip. The canal, which is planned to be built in partnership between Thailand and China, was also presented as an alternative to the Panama Canal. This is not the first time the canal project has been on the agenda. Even in the 17th century, Thai kings dreamed of such a dream. More recently, in the mid-20th century, various studies were conducted, but were shelved due to lack of funds and political instability. In the last 15 to 20 years, the acceleration of globalization, China's massive economic power, and the Belt and Road BRI initiative have brought Thailand's strategic position back to the fore. The difference this time is that the financing and technical capacity for the project could be provided by some external players, particularly China. Many experts believe that for such a major initiative to be realised, either a country like China will have to open its purse strings, or a multinational consortium will have to step in. There are some concerns about the opening of the canal. On the United States side, a report on the canal claims that the canal will physically create division, especially in the southern 4 provinces away from Thailand, and could easily lead to separatist movements. Another concern is that Singapore will lose 30% of its maritime trade revenues if the canal opens. China's role in the project also raises some concerns. On the one hand, the Chinese government supports loans and borrowings within the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative, which is of great importance in terms of its own economic interests and global leadership, while on the other hand, it tries to guarantee the security and sustainability of the initiative by seizing various assets of countries that cannot pay their debts. This situation brings to mind the Sri Lankan example, which has made indebted states and the international community concerned about China. As it will be remembered, the Sri Lankan government, which owes China and Chinese companies $8 billion in loans at 8% interest and is struggling to pay its debts, transferred 70% of the use and disposal rights of a port in the city of Hambantota to a Chinese company for 99 years in 2017. While this was a major blow to China's soft power-based foreign policy rhetoric, it also made other members of the international community, especially indebted countries, nervous about China's expansionist appetite. Projects implemented with China's financial backing can lead to criticism of debt-trap diplomacy. In this context, Thailand's sovereignty and economic independence may come into question. There are also serious problems and doubts about the feasibility of the Kra Canal project. First, the benefit of shaving 2 to 3 days off the time is not enough to encourage large ships to use the Kra route. Moreover, the cost of building the canal may have to be recovered through a transit fee on ships, which, according to some estimates, would amount to $115,000 per ship per transit. In such a scenario, it would make sense to use the Malacca International Shipping Lane, which does not charge any transit fees. In addition, the operation of the canal or the land bridge may require raising financing of around $30 to $80 billion. Another major area of concern is the ecological and environmental impacts of the project due to the different water level between the Andaman Sea and the Gulf of Thailand. This affects the livelihoods of 40,000 fishermen in both the Andaman Sea and the Gulf of Thailand, especially given the potential negative impacts of the project on marine ecologies and fisheries reserves. Besides fishermen, the construction of the canal could also lead to the displacement of 65,000 villagers. The burden of the canal may have to be borne by the Thai tourism industry in the isthmus of Kra, which is estimated to contribute around 40% of revenue to the Thai economy. The third major concern about the project is its impact on neighbouring ports and transshipment facilities such as Singapore and Port Klang in Malaysia. This could pose a significant challenge to the Kra, given their efficiency and other logistical advantages. The fourth main factor hindering the realisation of the project is its potential negative consequences on Thailand's internal and external security. The construction of the canal could lead to a kind of physical bifurcation between Thailand's northern regions and the southern parts, which have been a hotbed of Malay insurgency and separatism, which has led to the loss of 7,000 lives since the movement's resurgence in 2004. In this context, the canal, or any project on the Kra Isthmus, would be interpreted as separating the Deep South from the rest of the country, while the insurgency itself would block any construction effort. On the external front, the nature and strategic implications of the Kra Canal will draw Thailand into the middle of the growing Sino-United States rivalry, thus affecting its ability to flexibly conduct diplomacy without succumbing to traditional bamboo diplomacy or both sides. It is to address such concerns that the Thai government has also looked to countries like the United States, India and Australia to finance the project. As far as Chinese investments are concerned, concerns have been raised that the project could become a white elephant project like Hambantota in Sri Lanka and Gwadar in Pakistan, making Thailand similarly dependent on China through its debt trap policy. Is the Kra Canal a strategic opportunity for India? Despite speculation about its strategic value to the Chinese, the Kra Canal, or land bridge, has some limitations that cast doubt on its strategic utility. Given its geographical location, shipments that would pass through the Kra Canal, or from it to other parts of the IMOR, would have to pass through the maritime space of the Indian Ocean and transit points such as the Strait of Hormuz and the Malacca Strait, which could be blocked by enemy navies. In addition, ships going through the canal would have to pass through the Andaman Sea, which falls within India's exclusive economic zone, and thus would not enjoy the immunity of innocent shipping, as in the case of the Malacca or the Sunda. In addition, the volatility and difficulties of Thai domestic politics will prevent Beijing from giving the project too much momentum for now. However, the apparent strategic benefits of the canal cannot be ignored by Beijing, especially at a time of increasing pressure on its manoeuvring in the IOR due to the actions of countries like the United States, India, and groups like Quad and AUKUS. The construction of the canal will provide the Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy with a relatively easier passage from the SCS to the Indian Ocean and especially the Andaman Sea compared to the Strait of Malacca. Moreover, the construction of the canal through Chinese financing and as part of the BRI's Maritime Silk Road will allow Beijing to have a significant influence on the operation of the project, especially if Thailand increases its dependence on Beijing. In addition, the project will also allow a significant amount of shipping activity to be diverted northward to Chinese-controlled ports or ports with Chinese influence, such as Kyaukphu and Chittagong. For Beijing, the most significant and most important implication of the Kra Canal is its strategic value in the larger string of pearls or Chinese-controlled influenced ports that dot strategic points in the Indian Ocean. Besides the Chinese-developed Ream Naval Base in Cambodia, located at the entrance to the Gulf of Thailand, control of the Kra Canal or the ports of Ranong and Chumphon would allow Beijing to monitor the passage between the Andaman Sea and the SCS. Moreover, along with its control over the transshipment ports of Kyaukphu in Myanmar and Hambantota in Sri Lanka, the Kra Canal will ensure the smooth and safe transit of Chinese shipments destined for West Asia and Europe, while also facilitating the unimpeded movement of Chinese energy transport. From an Indian perspective, Chinese control of the Kra Canal or its ports would support Beijing's encirclement of the Indian Ocean and allow the planned opportunities for power projection in the Andaman Sea, close to India's eastern coastline, and strategic areas such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. More unfavourably for India, the Kra Canal in the String of Pearls would also facilitate the unimpeded movement of Chinese survey vessels mapping the Indian Ocean seabed en route to the Maldives and Sri Lanka. Although the current route of these vessels through the Sunda Strait does not ensure a smooth passage given the patrolling by the Indonesian Coast Guard. What should India do? Some critics have expressed India's concern over the Kra project, given the uncertainties surrounding the latter and the absence of any official announcements by the Thai or Chinese governments regarding it and the risks involved. India cannot ignore the potential consequences of a Chinese-controlled Kra Canal land bridge. Therefore, as former Foreign Secretary Vijay Gokhale noted, while much about the Kra project remains uncertain, India should also start preparing itself, given the emergence of the Bay of Bengal as a new economic hub and arena of geopolitical competition. All in all, the Indian Ocean has emerged as the new backdrop for Sino-Indian rivalry, with Beijing and New Delhi jostling for maritime influence. It is against this backdrop that the Kra Canal land bridge project became particularly important for India. If realised under Chinese investment and subsequent control, the project would provide Beijing with a seamless passage from the SCS to the Andaman Sea and the Indian Ocean, bypassing the Strait of Malacca. Such a situation could be detrimental to Indian security, which is intertwined with the maritime space of the Andaman Sea and Indian Ocean. Therefore, despite the project not being in sight as of now, but given the risks involved, India should be prepared for possible steps to be taken in case the project sees the light of day or is able to garner enough interest from China to become a reality. At first glance, India should try to seize the initiative through the development of its assets in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, seek investment through multilateral forums such as Quad, IORA and BIMSTEC, and even seek to include the canal in its diamond necklace, given the convergence of its major partners such as the United States, Japan, Australia, etc. The Kra Canal project is a massive undertaking with the potential to change the dynamics of global trade. But along with its economic benefits, it also comes with environmental, social and geopolitical risks. Therefore, the realisation of the project could lead to significant changes in regional and global balances. Stay tuned to our channel for new developments. Thank you for watching us.